Hi everybody, Ceralius here, and I'm going to be doing an arena playthrough for Mistweaver. I'm playing with a Fire Mage and a Ret Paladin. We're up against Shadow Priest and Fire Mage with the Holy Paladin. I set my port. I can tell that the Holy Paladin's trying to get a Hodge. I paralysis him. He goes ahead and stuns me. I have some counter CC from the Fire Mage, and my Ret Paladin kills the Shadow Priest. We are low MMR right now. I haven't really pushed threes much. I've gotten 1802s. We're going to go ahead and finish up this match pretty quick. First match was kind of easy. We didn't have very many struggles at all. There was a little bit of overlap with a couple cooldowns, but that's okay because we still won. So this next game we're up against a Marksman Hunter and Ret Paladin with a Disc Priest. So my Paladin is going in for the burst. We have the Marksman Hunter behind us. I go ahead and ring a piece him off, stop him on his burst. He could have kept going for me. I bubbled, which maybe wasn't the best choice. I think it may have been more useful here. Unfortunately, my focus frame with my scripts is kind of bugging out, so it's behind my unit frames, which we got fixed after this session. So I get stunned here, and I'm still holding Trinket just because there's really no threat. Like their burst is on cooldown. We're doing pretty well on mana. I think that maybe we did a little overspending, so I go ahead and throw a Bone Dust Brew just to top off real quick with the Gust of Mist proc on it. And my Paladin is staying way pushed up ahead because I know that he can stay alive longer because of Word of Glories. The Disc Priest kind of faded in, which kind of threw me off. Luckily, we got the kill when we got the poly. He bubbles. He can't get MD'd because of the poly. I don't know why the Disc Priest is holding Trinket so long. And they kind of elongate the game longer than it needs to be. We're done. We win. It's pretty much over. I still have enough mana to keep everybody up. I have cooldowns. And so pretty much we're just going to play out the rest of the game normally how we would, just because we don't want to throw the game. And I'm kind of throwing out a few more CDs than I need to, just because why not? Like I said, the game is over. We're sitting here waiting. The Disc Priest dies, and the Paladin keeps hodging me and going away from me. I think that if the Paladin was to actually swap me, might have been a little more effective. This game was really quick, actually. So I see that we have a rogue, so I set up normally. There's a failed Jade Serpent statue, so I get everything rolling on me just because I think that the rogue is going to open up on me, and then my Paladin dies. The reason that he died so quick is because if the Holy Priest put Ray of Hope on my Paladin, and so what it did was took all the damage that was coming in, and since I didn't have any healing on him, it was not counteracting the damage, and it just one-shot him. This game we're up against Boomy and Rogue with an H-Pal, so I go ahead and I always Thunder Focus Tea and then put out my Renewing Mist because it lasts for 30 seconds instead of 20. So I'm sitting the saps, and I go ahead and get in combat by healing. I'm going to go set up my port real quick. I go ahead and pop my Focus Tea just so that I don't have to sit in the silence. Like, I can do everything I need to. I go ahead and I heal, I revival. I get cloned. We got Paladin Bubble. He was down to 2%. This game, I made a lot of mistakes with my positioning and realized it during and kept making the same mistake, which was a big issue. So I'm going to go ahead and top off my Paladin. I get silenced. My Mage is trying to burst right now or get some kind of damage going to where we can keep the pressure. I'm doing really well on mana against the Holy Paladin. We go ahead And I'm trying to keep the rogue in combat so that they can't re-stealth. You really don't want to let rogues re-stealth as much as possible. So if there's anything you can do as a healer, absolutely try to help out your team. I go ahead and rop the cyclone. We get bomb out of the rogue. I didn't get cloned here. That's right. He cloned the fire mage. Um, we go ahead. We get blind. He sits it. So this whole time, like, I should be trying to reposition to where I'm not in between my teammates and the boomy. So the boomy cyclones me, which is a big issue. And here the rogue gets polyed. I get silenced. Luckily, there's no root because I used it earlier, so I just walk out. And so normal healing just to keep things going. The rogue, all right, I reposition port. I go ahead and bubble, and I top off my paladin. I get nature locked, and then the rogue was trying to get damage out on me. Luckily, the boomy cycloned me so that I wasn't taking any damage. Everybody's topped off. I'm doing very well against the... I don't know how I actually got cyclone there. I thought that I had ported quick enough. I guess not. But we end up getting the kill. My paladin and I were not in group or in Discord, so it was kind of hard to maintain good positioning. So I go over and I go ahead and kill the boomy so that we don't have to deal with it. He was low enough. We didn't want him to heal, and then we get the victory. This game was against the DH and Marksman Hunter with a Disc Priest. So I go ahead and do my normal opener, set port. I actually didn't set statue here. I go ahead and I port here, which I'm still in range of the wall bang from the Marksman Hunter. I go ahead and pop Cocoon. I give myself invulnerability to kicks, and we go ahead and get the turtle out of the Marksman Hunter. Everybody's whittling down, like there's a lot of damage going out, and so right after the turtle, the hunter died. This game could have gone a lot worse. So right here, I could have actually fortified brood before the hunt hit me, or I could even paralysis the hunt to stop it. It was just poor timing on my part. But we still end up pulling out the win. We get the kick on the priest. We get barrier, and then the DH dies. And so we're waiting for this guy to either die or just leave. We end up killing him. We get the victory. This game was up against a marksman hunter and paladin again, but this time with with the resto druid. So we go ahead and go in. I set up my statue, my port. I get my renewing mists out. I get frozen. I think that I end up trinketing this. No, I end up sitting it, and then I go ahead and run over, and we get bubble. We overlap cocoon and bubble. Luckily, we see that this guy's way out of position, so we go over. I touch a death, and we win this game. A lot of the times, I will try to disarm the marksman on his burst just because he can't do anything but throw traps. So we sit here for a minute. I think it was the paladin that left, or it was the druid, but we end up winning this game pretty easily with the minor mistakes. Like I said, this is an LFG group, so it's kind of hard to plan out stuff without any kind of mistake due to the fact that I don't know what's going through their head and they don't know what's going through mine. This game actually lasted a while, and I'm going to be honest with Mistweaver right now. I'm still struggling against affliction locks, and so it was more of a test for me than it was maybe for my other partners. So I go ahead and paralysis the lock that's trying to sneak up on me, and in my mind I'm thinking, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and reposition. I'm going to go ahead and set port back up. You always want to set up port as a Mistweaver just because it's your get out of pretty much everything, and it's a safe space that you can go to. Um, so I get stunned here, and the clone is not gonna or it does happen. I should have just went ahead and ring a pieced, but didn't. And so we're sitting here, and we're still good on mana. I'm actually way ahead of the Resto Druid. This is where things kind of I don't like Mugambala at all, and so being positioned up here is really bad for a healer, in my opinion. It doesn't feel comfortable. I go ahead and get in capped. Luckily, we got the Hodge, so there was no lineup CC. I go ahead and back out just because I'm going to go ahead and dispel and then top myself off. And my paladin and my mage are kind of trying to set things up together because they are friends. And I'm assuming they're in Discord. They're from the same guild, same name, essentially. Um, and this is not a bad positioning for me, just because, like, if I need to, I can get my paladin and I can get myself. Luckily, they don't get bubble here. His Word of Glories with wings is just too good. We have one of their DPS way out here, and I feel like, yeah, we do switch to him, which was a better move in my opinion. He was out of line of his healer for a while. This is where I start to actually dip lower than the Resto Druid in mana. And I'm just trying to get out my Mystic Touch so that my Paladin can do a little bit more damage overall for a few seconds. We're trying to keep this lock out of the game because he can just start rotting everybody down, and my mana will just be going down way too fast. And so the whole time I'm just trying to keep up Renewing Mist so that if I need to heal anybody, it's cleave healing. I see an opportunity to maybe kill this guy. Obviously, it doesn't happen. We get stunned. We get feared. And at this point, I'm trying to think, how can I top everybody off without getting kicked? I didn't have invulnerability for 3 seconds, so I ended up getting kicked, which is fine. My paladin is lining me at this point, and I'm trying to get over to him. And so when I get over to him, I go ahead and say, you know what, I'm just going to go back. There's no point in overexerting myself trying to make sure that everybody's topped off. They switch to me for a second. I go ahead and pop Cocoon, and then I heal myself. And this whole time, we're literally just trying to maintain pressure and trying to get the upper hand in cooldowns. And so I'm topping everybody off as normal, as a healer should. With this comp, you don't really want people to dip low because the shaman can have a nasty burst with some of his cooldowns. I knock the lock back into my paladin because of the corruption slow. Just trying to keep him maintaining pressure. And I get feared. I go ahead and pop Bone Dust. I top off my mage. I think I end up getting Cyclone. Yeah, so I get Cycloned here. It's only 3 seconds. So he incaps me. I get Cycloned again. It's only 2 seconds. I try to top off my mage. We're successful in that. Notice that I don't have Renewing Mist up, and I have a stack of it. So then I go ahead and reapply it. And so I'm starting to realize that I'm at 30k mana, and the Resto Druid has a little bit more than I do. I still have the Corruption Slow. Everybody has Unstable Affliction. And I want to dispel my Ret Paladin, but I just can't. So I get knocked. What I did here was I Chi Torpedoed, and then I decided to port, and I feel like that was a waste of a Chi Torpedo. I think I would have been okay if I would have just walked up and ported, or even just Chi Torpedoed up the stairs. So I pop my immunity. I start topping everybody off. My paladin is lining me a little bit. I get feared, and I'm trying to get back to everybody. I paralysis, and I'm sitting here thinking, like, how am I going to heal everybody? So I pop Yulon, and I get feared again. Luckily, my mage had his shield. My paladin was able to off heal. Unfortunately, they do get bubble here, um, which kind of puts us in a bad spot because that's really paladin's only defensive here, minus shield of vengeance. But bubble's just way too good. So I get feared down the stairs, and I'm starting to wonder how long is this game going to actually go on, and I need to start worrying about how much mana I have. So I get feared. It's a half DR, so I go ahead and pop Bone Dust Brew early, top everybody off. I might get feared again. Um, and we need to start applying pressure because otherwise they're going to start doing a lot of damage to us. And so as you can see, the shaman goes for me, and my mage gets hexed, which nothing I can do. Sitting here trying to heal up my paladin. Luckily he's off healing. He gets the kit, or he gets kicked. I get cloned. I'm wondering, do I need to go ahead and trinket? Luckily I don't. I get cycloned again half. I ended up trinketing and going ahead and cocooning, reapplying my renewing mists, and I try to knock the lock off. He was a little too far away. And so once I top off my mage, I think we're pretty much in a good spot. And I'm dipping really low, so I go ahead and I chi torpedo out. I pop bone dust brew on myself, top myself off, and realize that this dark glare is about to fall off. And so I top everybody off. We get the CC on the healer, and I decide I'm gonna go sit down and drink. We're sitting in a really good spot. They have to peel. Kind of watching, seeing how low that these guys get. I get a decent amount. I get like 10k mana. And what I do is I go ahead and just start topping everybody off. And at this point I'm thinking, like, okay, so I looked, nobody but one person had a unstable affliction. So I go ahead and pop revival because everybody was pretty low. I'm trying to top off my paladin again. He's dipping really low. This whole game, like, I felt like everybody was just dipping way too low, and we end up bursting and we get the kill. And it felt so good because I was worried that we were going to lose this game. Once again, I'm not comfortable against affliction lock, and these guys I'm not in Discord with, so I can't really plan out what I can do and what I can't. And we end up having the lock leave, and we pull out the win once the druid dies. This is kind of a BM moment. Like, he's sitting in bear with hots on top of frenzied regen, but we end up killing him. And we go up against the warrior and Boomy with the resto shaman. This game was annoying just because Boomy's with Convoke. So I'm sitting here trying to top off, make sure everybody's okay, and I end up getting convoked. I barely get the bubble off in a revival. Sitting here trying to make sure that everybody's okay. I end up seeing the hex. I get stunned into hex. Luckily, the hex gets broken by the warrior hitting me. And at this point, I'm looking, and I don't have bubble. I don't have revival. Like, I can't get out of this route. Or I do get out of this route because I had immunity. I tried flesh crafting it to make sure that I didn't get CC'd, which ended up helping as well. I get the poly. And I'm sitting here trying to think, like, how can we maintain pressure if I can't talk to these guys? And luckily, these two working together was really, really on point for most of the time. And I'm sitting here trying to top off my mage. Luckily, they don't get blocked. They did get caught, which is kind of bad. But we're still in it to try to get the win. And this whole game, I'm stressed. I'm trying to think, what can I do positioning wise? What can I do to keep my team going? And we're sitting here trying, and unfortunately, there's a point in this game where I realize that it's probably just a loss. I lined the clone. Um, it's a good add-on right here is S Arena. I'm always paying attention to the cast going on. Really helps out in awareness. I'm sitting here trying to get a little drink off, which was probably a mistake on my part because everybody starts dipping low. My mage gets cloned, so I can't even heal. I get hexed because I'm too worried about trying to heal. Um, my mage is trying to go for a burst, but unfortunately, okay, yeah, so he did get the counter or the grounding totem. And there was a CC that I sit that pretty much ends the game for us because they had ended up getting trinket, and it's just really bad because like we're not getting any kind of pressure out. Like my mana's good because of the drink, like we're even, but we get pretty close to getting good damage out on the shaman. If I was a little bit quicker, maybe I could have gotten the touch of death. There's a lot of things that I know that I mess up on, and that's what this whole playthrough is for, is not only to help other people see how the games work, but also for myself to see where my mistakes are. And I'm pretty good at realizing like when I make the mistake in the moment, but sometimes it just, you make a mistake and you don't realize until you watch it over. Um, and I don't know why we swapped to the shaman. I don't know if that was a good move, but yeah, here everybody starts dipping low. My paladin didn't have bubble. I only had bubble for the mage. What I could have done is probably bubbled the ret paladin because my mage does have block still, and I think we would have been okay there. Unfortunately, it's a loss. I go ahead and AFK, and that's it. Thanks for watching, guys.